Yeah, I'm talking to you. Come on over this way. Come on over. Nothing to fear over here. See that over there? That's right. It's a trapdoor.
Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Dylan and Joe Basement Podcast, Trapdoor. Unfortunately, this week we are without our trusted ally, Dylan Reed.
Welcome to Salem, brother.
Strange objects have been appearing all over the Massachusetts Commonwealth, and we need someone on the ground getting the interviews, getting the straight poop, the inside scoop about these objects. So we'll keep you posted. You'll know as soon as we do. Stay tuned for that in the future of the podcast. For now, you're back in the trapdoor with old Uncle Joe, here to talk to you about another topic near and dear to his heart, the little snippet we like to call the trapdoor. All right. This week, a topic I've been just itching to talk to you about. The disease caused by the virus varicella zoster, a member of the herpes virus family, but the only known one that can be transmitted through the air. The very act of speaking to another person in the room could make you one of the afflicted. And once the virus takes hold and starts to duplicate inside your cells, the symptoms will come on hard. Headache, fever, pains all over, and before long you'll find red lesions covering your skin from head to toe. I'm sure you'll find it quite unpleasant, yes. But don't fret. Chances are you've already contracted this virus, and you overcame and adapted. But it can still lie dormant in your system for up to 50 years, waiting for the moment to strike again. But that's just scratching the surface, so draw me an oatmeal bath and quit picking at it. You're gonna make scars. Today, Trapdoor, we're talking about chickenpox. First identified by Dr. Richard Morton in London, England, which is sort of the SEC for the draft picks that will be all diseases in the world. I mean, honestly, London is a breeding ground for disease in the same way that the Southeastern Conference is a breeding ground for Heisman Trophy winners. Woo! Roll Tide! In the early 1600s, chickenpox was misdiagnosed as a milder form of a much more deadly and prevalent disease in Europe at the time, that being smallpox, which carried with it a 30% fatality rate to anyone who contracted the disease. Along with fever, vomiting, and mouth sores, this month-long ordeal came with fluid-filled blisters covering every inch of your skin from head to toe. Now, this disease did not hole up in Europe for a couple hundred years and burn itself out. In fact, at one point, the pestilent grip of smallpox reached around the entire globe. And its history goes back, perhaps even as far as ancient Africa. Thanks to the excellently efficient embalming of the experts, Egypt, we know that smallpox has been plaguing humanity since ancient times, signified by the scars left behind in the skin after the victim has fallen prey to the disease. Now, smallpox throughout human history has killed around 500 million people, 300 million in the 20th century alone. But never fear. Thanks to the efforts of millions of people and thousands upon thousands of medical professionals and virologists, smallpox was the first disease in human history declared eradicated from planet Earth. Thanks to antiseptic, more broadened knowledge, and vaccines developed, no one on Earth ever needs to fall prey to a disease known as smallpox ever again. I mean, chickenpox ain't shit compared to that. That's some chicken shit compared to smallpox. It's true, when compared to smallpox, chickenpox has a very low mortality rate. In fact, if you contract the disease as a child, you're almost certain to survive thanks to modern medicine. The trouble comes when you contract it in later life, Older adults and elderly people are at very high mortality risk when it comes to contracting the varicella zoster virus. Even if you had it in early life, it can lie dormant in your system and come on stage for an Act 2, which is known as the disease shingles. Because of the high risk of contracting chickenpox in later life, many parents like to bring their kids together and have what's called chickenpox parties, so they can all contract the herpes virus disease together in one sick orgy of coughing, sneezing, and apparently playing Candyland. Far be it from me to teach people how to parent their kids. That's not my job. You do whatever you want with your kids, you freaks. So where the hell does this disease come from? Wait, it came from chickens, right? Chickenpox, chickens, it's right there. Well, strangely enough, we don't really know the origin of the disease, or its naming. As far as I saw in my research, it seems like some examples are, it looks like someone's skin was pecked apart by an angry chicken. Another version like it's the pansy version of smallpox. That's chickenpox. You're a chicken if you can't handle it. All super unsatisfying and annoying. My best guess is that people believed it came from chickens. And if they did believe that, they wouldn't be very far off. In fact, nearly every major disease that you and I have ever heard from started out surviving in animals before it took the off-ramp onto humans and started becoming the bane of our existence. You see, contrary to how it might seem, these little germs invading your body actually don't want to kill you. That's an evolutionary mishap that's made it worse for both of us. Anyone who's familiar with the tale of Hansel and Gretel knows you should not eat all the gingerbread in the house or you'll be left without a shelter altogether. You see, you don't want to burn the house around you that you live in. These microorganisms and viruses have been built and bred by nature to survive in their host. It's their goal to spread, multiply, and thrive within their home, which is your body, or more likely in the past, the body of the animal they adapted to live in. The problem comes when they transfer on over to our bodies, and our physiology just ain't the same. So instead of surviving and thriving within us, they end up, a lot of the times, killing us in a short time period. And that burns out all the fuel that you have in the eternal flame, which is the lifespan of a disease. So what does this have to do with London being to disease as Tinder is to a beautiful woman, full of disgusting and ruinous opportunity? As disparate humanity left their rural farms and coalesced into cities, they brought with them their livelihood. That meant that all the cities on planet Earth were teeming with livestock, all types and kinds of animals. And as the populations in each city grew around the world, so with it the disease. See, the intermingling of humans and animals worked well in small communities spread out around the world. But when you have thousands of people and thousands of animals packed in with little to no sanitation, oftentimes mixing the groundwater, drinking water, sewer water, fecal matter, and feed of the animals all into one glorious, undulating, disgusting mess of rot, you start to see mutations pop up as viruses and bacteria hop species. Pathogens that lived perfectly well in harmony with their hosts for years turn deadly when they jump ship to humans. Avian flu in birds, whooping cough from pigs, smallpox originally from rats, and even measles and tuberculosis that survived for years within cows' biology proved fatal when they transferred over to humanity, forming the most deadly and contagious diseases in human history. When these plagues strike a population, they're like a forest fire burning through a tinder brush. You see, much like a flame to a candle, the virus burns through a population, either killing its hosts or the host survives, becoming immune. And once a closed population is either immune or deceased, the flame goes out. Luckily for these pathogens, we had human cities. And cities were not only a breeding ground because of its livestock and sanitation problems, but its population influx. It wasn't until the 1900s that cities started growing their own population from within. Until then, cities couldn't even replenish their population by giving birth. These diseases killed off so many people that cities couldn't even repopulate by reproducing. Instead, thousands of people would flow into the cities every year with zero immunity to these diseases, adding fuel to the eternal flame of the viruses and bacteria, always smoldering and burning bright as people either died, became immune, or just joined the party with a fresh face, fresh eyes, and fresh lungs, not even realizing what they got into. Diseases like cholera hit London like a ton of bricks, killing millions of people because you couldn't separate your drinking water from your shitting water, innit? London, you gross, disgusting pig of a village. Okay, that's enough. I'm sure London's clean now. I don't know. There are so many diseases. It's just like, goddamn. Ugh. Pestilence has been a plague and a pox on humanity like nothing else. Tuberculosis alone has killed more people than all wars in the history of the world combined. Until the last century, the number one cause of death for the average human was diarrhea. Shot yourself to death. I wish I was kidding. It's kind of funny though. Unless it happens to you. Huh? That's not so funny. Listen, you and I are the lucky ones. Gone are the days of bloodletting, burning sweet-smelling herbs to solve your 4 humors, or sacrificing a goat to make the crops go stronger. We live in the 21st century. With modern medicine, sanitation, and scientific research, we don't have to worry about those diseases in the way our ancestors had to. Now we have vaccines for measles, mumps, diphtheria, rabies. There's a vaccine for chickenpox, by the way, too, before you think about bringing your kids to the little plague party, playing Chutes and Ladders, having little Ronnie scratch his chickenpox all over his buddies. Fucking weirdos. No, I said I wasn't going to judge. You do you, parents. That's not my business at all. Fucking weirdos. Yes, humanity has traveled a long way from our nights of huddling around the fire to scare off those predators that go bump in the night. The lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, that wait along the tent line just out of sight to drag you into the dark. It used to be all we ever worried about. And at some point, we get so comfortable and complacent in our nice abodes with our locked doors and our lit streets that we start to think, what's the big deal about lions and tigers and bears anyways? I'm not afraid of them. When's the last time a bear ever attacked anybody? Who gives a shit? I'm not worried. Well, 2 million people a year still die from tuberculosis, and there's a vaccine available. Here in the basement, we try to question everything. Never just take what someone tells you at face value, gobble it up. Do your own research. Reach out to someone who knows more than you. Look into what experts say about a topic they dedicated their lives to learning about that you think you can Google search in 5 minutes. The rate of mortality for infectious disease has plummeted in the past 100 years. It's awesome. It's a great human achievement, perhaps the greatest human achievement. But just beyond that campfire, the lions, tigers, and bears are still there. Don't spit in the face of those who came before you and not take that seriously. We live in the modern world where privileges and luxuries save us from the world our ancestors had to live in. Their loved ones, their friends and family could be taken away by those things that go bump in the night. We don't have to worry about that. Let's not take it for granted. They never got the chance to. We do. Of the name. Some explanations say it because it looks like an angry pickin' Contagious disease mortality rates have plummeted in in the past 100 years. It's awesome. It's a great human achievement. It's perhaps a great God damn it, Joe. Fucking